Sony just raised the price of the PS5 again, an extra $100, and everyone's talking about inflation and hardware costs and blah 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 blah. But here's what nobody's saying out loud. You are not paying for the better hardware, you are paying for Sony's failure. And I'm about to explain why Sony keeps raising prices, and spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with making better games.
The dead are corralled, yes indeed. And in this land, what do we have here?
Today we're talking about something that's been sitting with me for years. Games used to be accessible, now it's a luxury good. And Sony, one of the biggest publishers in the world, is actively making this worse. Not by accident, by design, because they need to recover from something catastrophic. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what that is, using my own story as the lens because I lived the prices problem firsthand. I watch people in my country dream about owning a console while I had to leave to afford one. This is just about money, it's just about access, and it's getting worse. GTA 5 came out in 2013. I was young then, juvenile. I was young and juvenile then. I wanted to play so bad, but I couldn't, man. I just couldn't. Not because the game wasn't good, not because I didn't want it, not because like it was rated A
Yeah, boy.
or 17 or mature. No. Most people don't care about that. Because a PlayStation cost more than my family could justify, In Tanzania, that's where I'm from, a PS3 in 2013 was a luxury item. It wasn't an entertainment device, it was a status symbol. I didn't get to play GTA 5 until 2020.
One eternity later.
7 years later. And you know how I played it before. I watched it. I watched playthrough in this old channel that used to be on YouTube. I think it's called GTA series video. He used to post these playthroughs, I believe, with almost every Rockstar games. I watched 100 mission series just to experience the feeling of that game. Because watching was free, playing was not. Fast forward 2024, my friend in back home finally saved up enough money to buy a PS3. A PS3 in 2024, seriously. And he posted it on his story like it was the achievement of his life, because for him it was his dream. That's what console gaming looks like for most of us. I had privilege. I got a visa. I moved abroad in late 2018. And in 2020, I bought a PS4 Slim, I believe, during COVID. I was bored because prior to that, I was marveled by the new place, So during COVID, when we are all locked in, I was like, yeah, I can get back to gaming now. And for the first time in 7 years, I got to play GTA 5. Not watch it, actually play it. That's when I understood what gaming actually felt like. In 2022, I got my hands on a PS5, and that was the first time I was playing current games with current gamers at the same time. Not late, no 7-year gap. Just bought a console in Elden Ring. I played the game, I experienced it when everyone else did. That's a privilege that most gamers in the world don't have. Now imagine Sony raises the prices another $100. In Tanzania, that's like around 250k. That's a month's salary for most people. So it raises the price of console. That's not a price increase, that's a door closing. Here's what people in first world countries don't understand. For most of the world, gaming isn't entertainment, it is luxury. In America, the USA, United States of America, a PS5 costs like around $500. That sucks, but that's also like 2 weeks of work for someone making minimum wage, From where I'm from, a PS5 costs from 1.5 million to 2.0 million Tanzanian shilling. That's like a 10 months of average salary back home. Months, I'm talking months, not week, months. And when Sony raises their prices by $100, that's not just $100 in Tanzania. That's just an extra month of work. That's the difference between maybe I can afford this someday and not this is impossible. And it's not just here. It's Brazil, it's India, it's anywhere outside the worth bubble, the worth Western bubble. Gaming is becoming gated community, and only rich people get to live there. Some kids in this country haven't owned a current generation console ever. They are playing PS3 games in 2026 because that's all they can afford. And now Sony wants to charge them more for the privilege of not being able to play. That's the real price increase. It's not about inflation. It's about access disappearing. You know what happened to gaming because of the price problem? Streaming became free tier. People can't afford to play anymore, so they watch other people play. And that's not a bad thing. Streamers and content creators have a real purpose. They let people experience games they can't access. But here is what's fucked up. The gaming industry knows this, and instead of making games more accessible to everyone, they are banking on it. And there are three types of gamers according to the mid scale. That's my personal scale. The sports gamers, people who buy FIFA and Madden or 2K every single year, same game, new roster. They are basically EA's bitch. Second type, live service gamers, people grinding the same online game endlessly. Asmon Gold to World of Warcraft for over 10 years, for over a decade. That guy hasn't tried another game. It is a gamer, it's a bona fide gamer actually. And single player gamers, people who want a story, a beginning, and an end, and maybe a couple of playthroughs here and there, but that's it. Sony used to make games for all three groups. Now they are obsessed with being the next Fortnite. That's where everything falls apart. Concord was a live service game, Sony's live service game. They invested between $200 to $400 million, according to rumors, into making the next Fortnite. And it flopped hard, catastrophically. The game was dead on arrival and Sony pulled the plug, but not before spending enough money to fund independent studio for a decade. That wasn't an accident. That wasn't, oh, we tried our best. That was corporate arrogance. Sony saw Fortnite's success and thought, yeah, we can do that. They couldn't. But they bet millions anyway, and now you're paying for it. Because here's the thing about having infinite money glitch. You can never truly fail. Sony can lose millions on Concord, millions on live service experience, millions on flops like Horizon that nobody asked for, and just keep going. They just raise its prices to cover the losses. The PS5 prices increase isn't about hardware costs. It's about Sony recovering from catastrophic business decisions. It's a tax on the people who actually want to play games to cover the losses of executives who doesn't know what they are doing. And Concord is just one example. Every failed live service game, every flop, we thought this would be the next big thing. That's money that gets passed down to you at the register. And genuinely, I feel sorry for the developers, man. You guys used to be gaming gods, you know. I feel for you genuinely. Some of those people invested years of their lives into live service. Games like High Guard, the game devs were thinking it was going to be their retirement plan. The company, Wildlight Entertainment, gave them incentives. When the game sells well, you get your return. So the developers are sitting there thinking, yeah, this is it. This is my ticket out. And then the game flops in 2 weeks. The game just released in January 2026. That's like over 3 months ago, January 2026. And in March 12th, unfortunately, it was shut down. Yep, as Osmongo likes to say it. That's where your retirement plan ended, and Sony is the worst content of them all, because when you've got infinite money glitch, failure has no really consequences. And it's not just Concord. Look at the Horizon franchise. Beautiful game, great world. Nobody asked for a live service version, Sony. Sony pushed it anyway because they're chasing a model that doesn't fit their audience. People are already clowning the game before its release. Single player gamers, the people who made Sony what it is, don't want live service. They want God of War. They want The Last of Us. Don't release them as The Last of Us. You already make that franchise to the bone.
I'm tired, boss.
They want a beginning, a middle, and an end. Sony keeps trying to convert them into live service players, and it keeps failing. You cannot manufacture Fortnite. It was lightning in a bottle. Ebbing did plan for that. It happened organically. Sony has been trying to bottle that lightning for years, and every attempt costs millions and delivers nothing. But Sony keeps trying, and every time they try, they lose millions. You can't plan a live service game into existence. You release it, and either people love it or they don't. And when Sony releases them, people just don't, because Sony games are designed by committee. They are focus group to death. They have no soul. Compare Fortnite, made by a studio that understood their audience, to every Sony live service flop. There's no comparison. One is a phenomenon, the other a corporate product. And the developers knows it. Some of these team invested years in this game thinking this is going to be my ticket out of poverty. Because when a live service game succeeds, the returns are massive, but when it fails, you're just another studio in the graveyard. Sony doesn't care. They've got infinity money. They'll just try again and again and again, and each time they fail, they raise the prices to cover the losses. You're not paying for innovation. You're just paying for Sony's right to keep failing. That's the whole model behind like self-made billionaires. When you actually look into their backgrounds, they've been incited by their parents to have this massive amounts of seed money to start up their companies, and now they're out here telling you that they're self-made. Bitch, please.
Oh, I built this company with my own two hands. Just me, that computer, and an $8 million loan from my father.
You really did it all on your own. Very inspiring, sir.
Now, let me bring this back to where we started. When Sony raised the prices by $100 for someone making average salaries where I'm from, that's not a $100 increase. That's a month of work. That's food for a family. That's school supplies for a kid. And Sony doesn't care because they're not making money in this country. They're making money in America. And Europe and Japan. Those are the markets that matter. And I understand. So these countries get hit twice. First, the base price is already inflated because of currency conversion and import taxes. Then when Sony raises the US price, that gets passed down globally. Multiplied by exchange rate, it's a compounding problem, and it's by design. Gaming used to be for everyone. Now it's for rich countries, and as console prices rises, even middle class kids in wealthy countries are getting priced out. Imagine what it's like in this part of the world. My friend back home had to save for years to buy a PS3. I mean, years. And he celebrated it like it was winning the lottery. That's what Sony price strategy looks like in the real world. When I got my PS5 in 2023, I felt privileged because I had moved away, I had opportunities. Most people don't have that choice. They're just stuck where the console costs a year's salary and the game costs another month, and Sony keeps raising prices anyway. Here's what I want you to understand the next time you hear Sony justify a price increase. They're lying. They're not raising prices because the hardware is more expensive. They're raising prices because they're investing millions in live service games that nobody played, the games that flop, Concord, Marvel's Avengers, every failed experiment. And instead of admitting that's a problem with their business model, they're just passing the cost to you. That's the Concord Tax. It's not called that, but that's what it is. You are paying so Sony can keep losing millions on games nobody wants to play. And the people who get hit hardest aren't people in America complaining about $500. It's people in Mongolia, in Brazil, in India, anywhere outside the wealth bubble who are now completely priced out. Because you have to factor in the import tax and retail sellers' prices. Then 100 increase in the US turns into at least 200 to 300 increase. Gaming used to be for everyone. Now it's become a gated community, and Sony is raising the walls higher every year. Now, let us not talk about PC prices. That is a whole another conversation that's going to make you feel hopeless. If you're watching this from a country where gaming is expensive, where a console is a year's salary, drop it in the comments. Let people know what the real process is. Let people understand. And if you're from a wealth country and you think $100 increase is no big deal to you, join the fund. We don't discriminate over here. That's the Concord Tax, and we are all paying it. Subscribe if you want more real talk about the gaming industry, as it will help the channel. Twitch link is in the bio. See you there. Goal 100K before the end of the year. Peace out.